Today we're joined by Sue. Thank you so much for joining us. How did you approach post-18 options with your daughter?
When Ellen was in sixth form, they did a presentation about university. I can remember going to that talk, and then it got the conversation started between me and my daughter about what she wanted to do, really thinking about it. And we went to the talk, and she just said to me, "Oh, I don't really want to go to university." I think she preferred to go down the working route, but with training, because she didn't really know what she wanted to do.
You know, when you were making those decisions, how much did your daughter know, or how much did you know about apprenticeships?
We looked into university and we looked into other options available, the apprenticeships, and we found out that you could do all sorts of levels of apprenticeships, including degree ones. So you could still get a degree and work and get the work experience. So we did talk about all those things, but it was easier because my daughter didn't want to go to university. Sixth form college seemed to tell you all about universities, but there didn't seem to be as much information about apprenticeship.
You know, it seems like you have to do a lot more independent research. How did you find that? How did your daughter decide what sector she wanted to go into?
Well, it's funny. I don't think she really knew. She just was looking for a job. There were lots, and because she didn't know what she wanted to do, she decided to look into business administration. There was quite a few of those, but in very varied roles, very different companies. So she actually signed up to a training provider and they helped her a lot.
Okay, great. So that was kind of her main point of information at the time.
Yes.
What sector did she end up getting into?
Well, she got offered 2 jobs actually, and this is where the training provider was very good at protecting her, and she had no experience in things that were being offered, and she got offered one role that she had to do too many hours and they weren't going to provide enough hours for her to study. So the training provider sort of said to her, "Yes, you've been offered this job, but they're not really listening to my guidance." But she eventually got offered a business administration apprenticeship in a conveyancing and law local firm, and she did the business administration. But then they offered her an opportunity to do some conveyancing training, and she ended up doing some exams in law and accounting, in reflection, to write down what you really want from training experience and be very careful and mindful of what your aim is, rather than just taking the first thing that's offered, which I think a young person might do. Well, she did. Not every young person would do that. As a parent, I think you need to really keep the communication open, to just be careful what they're, signing, look at their contract maybe with them just in that first instance when they're so young. So yeah, we learned as we went along, really.
You've answered my question for me. I was going to say, what would your tip be to parents who are in that situation with supporting? But I think you're absolutely right. Moving on a little bit. So how did you, as a parent, see that your daughter was finding the work-study balance of the apprenticeship?
Oh, she really loved it actually, because she was used to being at school, and you're very very busy at school. You're doing your work at school, and then after school you're expected to do homework and things. So I think to go into training on the job is sort of just a continuation of that, and she's very organised, and that's why it suited her so well.
Fantastic. It's great to have that flexibility. One final question, just to kind of sum up. If there was anything that you could say or advise to parents who were in your shoes when you first started this process, what would you say?
Knowing what I know now, I would recommend that you always have an open conversation with your child. They might feel like there's an unspoken pressure to do a certain thing. I think as parents, we're all guilty a little bit of that, whether it be you must go to university or you must indeed get an apprenticeship. Either way, we have an unspoken bias as parents, and we need to just listen to our children, but always just keep talking about it. Yeah, good luck to everybody. There is so much more information